Most people don't realize this until they're already emotionally exhausted. They think they're fighting for love, fighting for destiny, fighting for something God wants them to keep. But sometimes they're actually fighting against God's protection. And that's the hardest truth to accept. Because when you care deeply about someone, when you've invested time, emotion, prayer, and hope, the last thing you want to believe is that God may be the one quietly removing them. We grow up hearing that real love requires sacrifice, that if something is valuable, you don't walk away easily. You stay, you endure, you push through hard seasons. And yes, commitment matters, loyalty matters. But there's a difference between commitment and captivity. There's a difference between enduring a season and forcing something God has already stepped away from. Not every relationship is meant to be fought for. Some are meant to reveal lessons. Some are meant to refine you. And some are meant to end. When God is removing someone from your life, He rarely does it with a loud announcement. There's usually no dramatic voice from heaven telling you to leave. Instead, He uses subtle shifts, quiet discomfort, small disruptions that don't seem significant at first, but grow heavier over time. And most people ignore these signs because they don't want them to be true. One of the first signs is the loss of peace, not necessarily chaos, not necessarily betrayal, just an internal unrest that you can't explain. On the surface, things may look normal. You still talk. You still spend time together. But deep inside, something feels off. You start overthinking conversations. You feel anxious before seeing them. You replay moments in your mind, and you try to convince yourself that you're just being insecure or dramatic. But God's peace is not random. It is directional. When you are aligned with what He has for you, there is a steady calm, even in difficult seasons. When you are connected to something that isn't meant for you long term, your spirit feels friction. You can have chemistry. You can have attraction. You can have history. But if you don't have peace, you don't have confirmation. Emotional intensity is not the same as spiritual alignment. Anxiety is not passion. Confusion is not love. When God removes peace, He is often sending a warning. Another sign is constant resistance. You feel like you have to force everything. Conversations feel strained. Plans repeatedly fall apart. Important discussions turn into misunderstandings. You're always the one trying to fix things, initiate change, or hold everything together. It feels like you're carrying the weight of two people. Yes, relationships require effort, but they shouldn't require you to constantly resuscitate them. When something is truly aligned with God's will for your life, it may face challenges, but it won't consistently resist forward movement. If every step forward feels blocked, if every breakthrough turns into another breakdown, you have to ask yourself whether you are building something healthy or forcing something that heaven is quietly closing. Then there's the voice of wise counsel. This is one of the hardest signs to accept because emotions make us defensive. But when mature, spiritually grounded people who genuinely love you begin expressing concern, it's worth paying attention. They may notice patterns of disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional distance that you've normalized. And you may defend the person because you see their potential. But relationships are not built on potential. They are built on patterns. You are not in a relationship with who someone might become one day. You are in a relationship with who they are choosing to be right now. When multiple trusted voices are sensing the same red flags, it may not be negativity. It may be protection speaking through them. Another powerful sign is when you begin shrinking to maintain the relationship. This rarely happens overnight. It happens through small compromises. You soften your convictions. You avoid certain topics to keep the peace. You distance yourself from people who challenge the relationship. You become quieter about your faith or your goals because they make the other person uncomfortable. Slowly, without realizing it, you start losing pieces of yourself. Your spiritual growth slows down. Your confidence decreases. You feel smaller. The right relationship will never require you to minimize your calling. It will not compete with your relationship with God. It will strengthen it. If staying connected to someone consistently pulls you away from who God created you to be, that is not love growing you. That is attachment diminishing you. One of the most heartbreaking signs is feeling alone while being together. You sit next to them but feel emotionally distant. You express your feelings but don't feel heard. You long for deeper connection but are met with indifference. Loneliness inside a relationship can feel heavier than being single because love is supposed to feel safe and supportive. If you consistently feel unseen, unsupported, or emotionally isolated, that is not something to ignore. Sometimes God allows that loneliness to become more noticeable so you can clearly see what you've been trying to deny. He allows the emptiness to surface so you understand that staying may be costing you more than leaving ever would. Here's the truth that's difficult to accept. God will remove someone before they damage your destiny. He sees what you cannot see. He knows the long-term impact of attachments you only see in the present. What feels like rejection may actually be redirection. What feels like abandonment may be protection. What feels like heartbreak may be divine intervention. When God removes someone, it doesn't always mean they're a bad person. It means they're not assigned to your future. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay in it. Some people are seasonal, some are lessons, and some are blessings for a limited time. If you are in a season right now where peace has disappeared, where doors keep closing, where you feel smaller instead of stronger, pause before you panic. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is God protecting me from?" God's no is not cruelty. It is clarity. He will never require you to betray your identity, your faith, or your calling to keep something He truly ordained. The person meant for you will not confuse your spirit. They will confirm your direction. They will not weaken your relationship with God. They will reinforce it. Sometimes separation is mercy. Sometimes distance is deliverance. And sometimes the very thing you're grieving today is the thing that would have broken you tomorrow. If this message resonates with you, don't ignore that feeling. Reflect. Pray. Pay attention to your peace. God is not removing people to hurt you. He is removing them because He loves you enough to protect the future He has prepared for you. And He has never made a mistake about your life.